Hello, happy Tuesday night live. It is Tuesday night, July 25th, 6th, 7th, I don't know. July 26th. I know it's July 26th tonight. Thanks for joining me. Hello, Marie. Thanks for joining me. I'm a few minutes late. I just kind of got a slow start here, so I apologize. Hello, Chris. Good to see you, or see your name anyway. Thanks for joining me. I have something different tonight. As you know, it is currently SaleABration. This goes until the end of August, so we're about halfway through. And as of a few hours ago, anyway, we had most items available. The only thing that is not available at this point are the note cards and envelopes. But the dies that we've been talking about the past couple weeks, the tree lot dies with the camper, still available, and the hippo dies and the hippo stamp set still available. Huge things to get your hands on if that appeals to you. And if you're not sure if it appeals to you, go back and watch the past couple and you will see if those things appeal to you. Hello, Jody. Nice to see you as well tonight. But what I'm doing tonight is actually not a SaleABration item at all. So I'm going to flip you down. I'm going to talk to you about why I love this, and then I'm going to, I don't know, make some cards with it. Okay. Here we go. Let me see if I can do this and ignore the stand. Ignore this over here now that I pointed it out, right? Can't ignore it now that I've pointed it out. Okay, scooch it down a little bit. Okay, so this stamp set is called Oceanfront, and this actually appeared for the first time in our previous mini catalog. So it was in the mini catalog that was our spring mini catalog that ended in I don't know, June. It ended in June, but it made it into the big catalog. So let me show you where you can find it in here. As I am creating, maybe you want to add this to your wish list. Hi, Susan. Hi, Sandy. So it's right here. It's called Oceanfront. It's on page 88. Page 88 of the big catalog. And it is $22, which is such a bargain. So I'm going to show you some, I've become obsessed with it. I actually did not own it when it was in the spring catalog, but recently I've become obsessed with it. I don't know what to tell you. It's a very, very easy stamp set to use. I'm going to show you some samples with using this and show you some ideas that I have seen or that I have created with this. But just to show you, there are some samples. I'm not going to do samples like either one of these, but this one here just kind of uses it almost as a whitewash, the big stamp as a whitewash, which is another way to use it, which is great. So let me put that aside for now and bring out what's in the stamp set. I feel like this should be going in this direction. I'm only using a half a sheet of paper because I'm not actually, the surfaces that I'm stamping on are not actually all that big. This is generally used as the sky. This is what we just saw used as kind of a whitewash. Generally used as the water, generally used as sand. Some rocks and some, plants. And then something to kind of make something look sort of sandy. So let me start by making a very, very basic card with this, the most basic card. Just to let you know, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ink pads out in front of me to create tonight, which is crazy, right? For a very simple stamp set. 14 ink pads seems like a lot. Okay, this is Balmy Blue, so I'm going to start my sky in Balmy Blue. If you are using this stamp set, I have found that I need to use the bigger blocks. So these are E blocks, which are big and a little bit clunky. But I find that fits the actual stamp best. So I don't know if you can tell yet, but you'll be able to tell in a minute. But this is what we call a distinctive stamp. So it's got some lighter and lighter and darker parts to it. So I generally start with my sky right at the top. And the paper that I'm using, just to let you know, this is tiny. It's 2.5 by 3.5. It is a tiny piece of paper. And that's for a couple reasons. One, I just wanted to make a very small focal point. And two, I'm waiting for my order to come in with some paper, some white paper. You know, you always have plenty of white paper until all of a sudden you have no white paper, right? I forgot that I'm using a photopolymer stamp, which means it's a see-through stamp, which is convenient for many reasons you will see tonight. But one thing it's not so convenient about is that it's got no squish to it. There's no squish factor. So what I have done is that I have taken a paper piercing pad, paper piercing mat from Stampin' Up, and I just wrapped it in some grid paper. And then when I squish this on here, I'm going to get a better image. So if you're not getting a great image with the photopolymer stamp, try and put a squish factor under. A mouse pad, a paper piercing pad, a catalog, anything like that will give it a little bit more squish, and you should get a good image. So as I noted, there's some light and some dark parts to this because it's a distinctive stamp. So that was Balmy Blue. Now, I never use Pacific Point. It is one of my least favorite colors, but honest to goodness, it is the best, or it's a very good color. I shouldn't say the best, but it's a very good color for water, which is probably how it got its name, right? So the water stamp I'm going to use is this one right here. So it's got a straight line here, so you can line that up with the horizon, and then this will end up being the beach. Now I'm doing full strength on all of these, so I'm just now, you can see the benefit. Can you see the benefit? Let me see if I can zoom you in. Can you see the benefit of having a photopolymer stamp? So I can line this up exactly on the horizon, maybe overlap just a smidge. I can see right through my stamp there. Give it a good press. La. It is a good color for the ocean, right? That was well named, Stampin' Up. Well played there. Okay, I'm going to clean off my stamps as I'm stamping because I have other plans, and I don't want to mess them up. Okay. Let me zoom out just a smidge. Okay, the next one that I'm going to use is actually Crumb Cake. And that's, Crumb Cake makes a really nice color sand, really nice color beach. So I'm going to use that next. And the beach that I'm using, or the sand, kind of looks like this. Now, you could use it like this with the very jagged edge, but it's a little bit difficult to line up. It doesn't exactly line up, but you could kind of get that sort of look. But I'm just going to go like that and kind of cover right over, and that makes it super easy and super quick because it's sort of what I wanted with this card. I forgot to start by saying I am Betty Sakosha, Independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, team leader for Power of Positive Inking. But now we all know each other, right? Okay, so here's my sand. Now, if I want to add in a little bit of sand, we have this stamp here. Let me show you what it looks like. This right here makes for great kind of sandy sand. So I'm going to do that right in the same color. So also in Crumb Cake. And then I like to flip it over so it's not exactly the same as the previous stamp that I just did. Okay, so now it really looks like a sandy beach, right? And let's throw in one plant. So we've got a couple of different plants that we could choose, but I'm going to choose this plant here with the, I don't know for sure what you call these. I call them cat o' nine tails. I'm not sure if that's really what they're called, but that's what I'm going to call them. So I'm going to do those, and I am going to use Soft Suede, which is just slightly darker than my Crumb Cake. And stick that. I could kind of put it at an angle. I could put it straight. Whatever you like. I'm going to put it straight there. Okay, boom. This essentially is done. You could layer that on some Crumb Cake, then maybe a layer of white behind it. Let's do that with white behind it. And then you could put the whole thing on some Balmy Blue. or any color actually that's in here. Although I did try Pacific Point, I thought it was too much. That's too much. Okay, so you could do something like that there, right? Like simple. I think the beauty of this is its simplicity, so I think a small image like this, to me, works out great. All right, let me show you some other things you could do. So that's your basic sky, water, beach scene. But let's say you want to put in a little bit more of a horizon. So let me grab another sample. Again, this paper that I'm using here is 2.5 by 3.5, so it's a tiny little piece of paper, so you get lots of room to work with things. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one is that I'm actually going to put, let's see, let's get my, so here's my stamp, and I can see looking at it that it's darker up here. So this is going to be the top of my stamp. So that I'm actually going to stamp right in the blue at about, maybe about 2/3 of the way down. You can see where I'm stamping it here. Picking up some balmy blue. Okay, now let me move that out of the way. I forgot to close another ink pad, so let me get that out of the way. Now I'm going to pull in, how about some Blushing Bride? So Blushing Bride is a very nice pale pinky type color. So now you can kind of see right here where I've got the top of it, or okay, the top is Blushing Bride. So the bottom, excuse me, the top is Balmy Blue. The bottom I want to be Blushing Bride. So I'm going to line up. Can you see that line goes right across there? I'm going to line that up because I can see what I'm doing. And stamp my Blushing Bride. Now, if I were to stamp this straight on my paper, I would get a very straight line. And that's not really what I'm going for, because that's not really generally how the horizon works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in another color. So I'm going to pull in Fresh Freesia. I've also done this with Highland Heather, but I'm looking for kind of a purpley, pinky type color. So I'm going to pull in some Fresh Freesia and a dauber. And I'm going to daub into the ink and then right across that line. So where I had a harsh line, oh, it's a little hard to see. Can you see that that is a harsh line? But daubing it on is going to kind of soften that line. And this is going to look a little bit more natural. Okay, now the other thing that I'm noticing, let me pull the white behind it, is that it's a little bit blobby down here. Can you see that? Little blobby. So what I'm going to do is actually, I'm just going to get rid of some of this ink here, and I'm just going to tap a little bit with my dauber to kind of soften up those blobs that you previously saw. Okay, so now blue sky on the top, Freesia in the middle, and Blushing Bride at the bottom. And this is how this looks. Okay. So a little bit more like a horizon, or a sunset, maybe a sunrise, depends on your time of the day. And then I'm going to bring in my Pacific Point again and put my water in like so. So I'm going to line it up. Again, I'm pushing it right up to that horizon line there. Stamp, stamp, stamp. Oh! Look at that. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to put in my beach again. So I'm using my Crumb Cake. And boom, done. Okay, so now you've got that kind of look. Another thing that we have in this stamp set are some rocks. There are a few rocks. There's a big rock and a couple little rocks. So I'm going to use some of the little rocks. And I'm going to use the soft suede. And stick these right over here. Because they're so dark, when you put them in the sand, they do a nice job of covering up that little corner there. And then I'm just going to take another set of, or another stamp, which is some seagrass, and stick it right like so. Okay, So now, maybe I want more. Maybe I want more. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so now I've got my horizon. Or not my horizon, but my sunset. So again, very, very simple. Could mount that on there. I love things mounted on gray. I just find, or on the Sahara sand, because I feel like it grounds it with this. And then the same thing, you could put it on here, and then you would have your completed card. So easy, right? Okay, one more I'm going to show you. Actually, two more I'm going to show you. And one is how to get a sun in here. Let me show you how I get my sun. So, again, I like to start at the top and work my way down, but you could do the opposite. Joanna is saying that she loves this stamp. Me too, Joanna, and I didn't actually get it right away. I can't believe it took me this long to get it. Okay, again, I'm going to start with some... You know what I could start with this time is Pool Party. I haven't used that on my sky yet, so let's go ahead and start with that. So I'm going to start again with the darker... I'm going to start with it up here. So I did about half of it in Pool Party. And then I'm going to go into my Blushing Bride. So again, I can see where my blue is. My blue is about halfway through. I'm going to line this up. That way I'm not messing up my ink pad, because nothing makes a stamper more angry than a messy ink pad. It is simple, and it does make a statement. You are so right, Sandy. It is so cathartic. I'll tell you, when you start doing this, you can't stop. Okay, so now I've got the blue on the top. Whoops. Flying dauber. Okay, I've got the blue on the top and the pink on the bottom, or the Blushing Bride on the bottom. Now I'm going to take a clean dauber, and I'm just going to kind of daub off where I want my sun to be. Okay, so I'm going to put my sun right down here, and I'm just going to dab that color right onto my scrap paper, so you can't really see what I'm doing, but I'm getting rid of all of that color. Then I'm going to go in and pick up the Faux Saffron. Can't see what I'm doing because I'm too zoomed. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with my dauber and the Faux Saffron, and I'm just going to put my little sun shape here. Okay, and then I need to go back in because, again, I've kind of got that harsh line here. So I'm just going to daub right across, soften that up, flip, and find the top of my paper. So now you've got a little sunset there. And every single one of these is going to come out a little bit different. Which is kind of like every sunset, right? Just a little bit different. All right. What if I do, I hadn't done this before, but let's try it. I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm going to do balmy blue for my water. I had been using Pacific Point, but now I'm going to use balmy blue because in my sky I have some Pool Party. So it's going to be a little bit softer. Like so. And then my beach is always going to be Crumb Cake. I suppose you could do like soft suede, you could use gray granite, something along those lines. Now, if I wanted to fill in the whole thing here, can you see how that kind of fades off at the bottom? I can go right in and kind of pop this right on top, and it almost makes it kind of like dunes, right? You can kind of see dunes here. So this would be a great place if you want to stick in some flowers, or not flowers, some plants, some grass. So let me stick in some of the seagrass coming out right from that little dune. Hi, Ellen. Thanks for joining us. I was letting everybody know that I'm not playing with a SaleABration set, even though it is during SaleABration right now, because I'm in love with this, and I don't want you to miss it, especially because I think it makes such great summertime cards. That noise is me cleaning up my stamps with my chamois. Okay, you know what? I'm going to stick this in here and just give a little bit of the look of the sand. There we go. Okay, now, I feel like this needs a seagull. Now, there is not a seagull in this set. One might ask why. I don't know why. But there is a seagull in Mountain Air, and you probably have a seagull in, you probably have a collection of some birds in something. So feel free to pull those out, because this is a great time to utilize those. And if you don't, seagulls basically look like little flying V's. So what if we did that? Oh my goodness. I want to be at this beach. Okay, so let's put this card completely together, and then I'm going to show you some other cards I made and show you a different way you can use this. Ooh, let me show you this experiment I've been up to. I usually keep my green glues facing down in my container, and that way they're good to go when I'm ready. But recently I have found that, you know, like when you get to the bottom of your green glue, but I've been trying this experiment where I've been flipping them over. Did you know that there's two sides to your green glue? And one is a wider tip, and one is a thinner tip. So when the thin tip is done giving me all the glue, I've been flipping it over to the bottom, and I've actually kind of gotten a little bit of a second life out of my green glue. My goodness. I just love the beach. I think that's it. Okay, I told you that, and now my green glue is not going to cooperate. So fine. We'll go back to one that I'm using from the top. Okay, let's put this on white, and then put the whole thing on a little bit of balmy blue. Come on. There we go. Okay. Easy peasy, right? I feel like this makes such a statement. I just love what you can do with this. Very simple stamp. You almost can't mess it up. They've done all the watercoloring for you. It makes it very, very easy. Okay, so let me put that one aside. Let me pull in another idea that I have for these. Okay, so we have been using this because it's called Oceanfront. To me, it could also be a lake, but it doesn't have to be water. So let me show you one more sample with this not being water. Okay, so I am going to use balmy blue for my sky again. Let me make sure that my stamp is clean. Whoops, that's pool party. Whoa. It was almost a catastrophe, actually. It would have been fine, but I like this with the balmy blue. Okay, so again, putting my darkest section of the stamp towards the top. Green glue isn't available. You know why? Because I bought it all. No, I didn't buy it all, but I do love green glue. Hang in there, people, because green glue is definitely worth it. Our other adhesives are okay, but green glue is definitely my go-to. So hang in there if you don't have it yet. Add it to your list so that you're ready to go when it's ready for us. Okay, now I'm going to, instead of making this ocean, I'm going to make it a field. So I'm using Old Olive in the same, again, let me make sure that my stamp is clean. In the same thing that I have previously been using, I'm going to stamp it on here and just make sure it really is green and not green blue. Okay. So now I'm going to line up my green right on the horizon line, like so. I think I missed a little. Yeah, a little. Okay, so now you get the sky and a field. It's no longer an ocean front, right? Ha ha. Fooled you, Stampin' Up. Okay, then I am going to do, let's do Sahara sand. Now let's do Crumb Cake. Sahara Sand is close, but all the paper that I've cut is Crumb Cake, so we'll use that. Okay, so this again will be my field. So I'm going to put this in here like so. And then I am going to add some rocks because it's a field and it's not, yeah, I'm just going to add some rocks. So I'm using soft suede for my rocks. And we will stick them right about there. Perfect. Okay. I think that's it for now. Now, there are a number of stamps that you can use to kind of accentuate what's happening at the back of your field. So I would like to put a forest, and I'm using my stamp set called Mountain Air. This is also where I got my seagulls from, but I'm going to use this stamp right here with all of these trees. Oops. And I'm going to use Evening Evergreen. And I'm going to put those right across the horizon line. So Evening Evergreen is almost looks black. I love how this looks. Now let me give you a word of advice. I previously had been trying to put this up towards my horizon line. You actually have to put it below your horizon line. And you just have to trust me on this, because otherwise it looks ridiculous. And you'll have to find ways around it. Whoops. La. So now you've got your meadow, if you will, in front of your trees, and then your sky in the background. So let me show you some finished cards. Well, they're actually not finished because I just played around with so many of these. This one here is the same thing with some rocks and some grass there. This one here, so picture, if you will, let me get my finished card. This is very similar to this one here, but like I said, no two are going to come out exactly the same. So here's just a different version of the same kind of card there. This one here, I don't know if I did this one, I think I did this one tonight, where I just did a graduated, didn't put the sun in there, but just did the graduated colors there. And that's what that would look like there. And this is where I began the night, which was super simple, right? Just the ocean or the lake, boom, done. Now, I wanted to give you some options of ways that you can, or things that you can stamp on if you want to utilize this in super, super quick way. And that is using the Whisper White note cards and envelopes. So here's the code for those, 131527, and you get 20 of these in an envelope. So you could whip up a bunch of these. And this just utilizes the stamp and the actual note card. So it's like a thick white note card, but it's a little bit smaller. It's 3.5 by 5, and it's kind of perfect for this. So you could do a bunch of different scenes on this, and that makes a really, really nice gift, or just a very simple thinking of you, happy summer, relax kind of card. So that's one option. Another option is, I don't know if you know, but we have this thing in our catalog. You'll be seeing more of this if you follow me. You'll be seeing more of these yet to come. But they are our craft note cards and envelopes. So they are same size. When folded, they are 3.5 by 5. And they're our craft paper. And they have matching envelopes. And I think the natural look of these really complements the natural look of this stamp set. So let me show you. Oh, and they make a box. So you can get a box with it. So you can fill these all into a box and give them as a gift. So this is just super, super simple with just one more frame behind it. But again, you could do a number of different scenes on these cards and give that as a gift. You just add some white paper on the inside, or some vanilla. That would be nice as well. I'm not sure where that seagull is from, because that is not this seagull. It's not these seagulls. But like I said, I'm sure you have birds, and if you don't, you know how to make that shape. You've been doing that since 5th grade probably, right? Okay, so those are some options there. Now, let me tell you another thing that I think is completely overlooked in the catalog. And that is these. These are called Deckled Rectangles. And where did I put my catalog? Oh, here we go. Okay. I wanted to show you these. So these can be found towards the end of the catalog. They don't specifically match with a, that's not them. I picked the wrong page. They don't specifically match with the stamp set, so they're just kind of on their own. And they are found on page 170, and they're right here, Deckled Rectangles. There are 8 different rectangles, and you may, many people have the stitched rectangles or the layering rectangles, those kinds of things. This is a similar but different kind of look. So if you don't have anything, you might want to go with the straight rectangle, and that makes a lot of sense. But if you're looking for something a little bit different, I got a dimensional back in there, the Deckled Rectangles I think you will be really pleased with. So like I said, there's 8 of them that come in a package. And I just wanted to show you the kind of look that these make. Okay, so this is the actual look of it. All right, so it's really, really nice like that. I'm not going to stamp another one because I feel like I've stamped enough for you, but I am going to show you some samples done with the Deckled Rectangles and how pretty and how it really kind of enhances this kind of natural soft look. So this was the Balmy Blue, soft sea foam. I added some green in here. And for this, I just used a Post-it note and masked out that spot as I stamped it. And then in the end, just added a little bit of yellow there to look like the sun shining. Now, can you see these beauties down here? These are 3D rocks. Can you see? Oh, yeah, right? Let me show you what they really look like, and maybe not. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. So this is what those rocks are. So they're called Faux Sea Glass, and they make this card, they elevate this card. This just way jacked up the price of this. Plus, it's going to cost more to mail it now, but you know what? It's totally worth it because it's really cool. So these come in Pool Party, Pear Pizzazz, and white. Okay, maybe I'm making that up, but those are what the colors look like to me. And they come in various shapes, so they're really cool to use for something like this. Now, I'm not sure if this is still available, but a while back, these pebbles were in the previous catalog, and they were on the clearance rack. So you can check. I'm not sure if they're still available, but they're called Pebble Enamel Shapes. And they actually come in a little bit more of, you know, not sea glass colors, but more like rock kind of colors. And that would be perfect for this as well. So take a look at those. All right, here's another one that I did, so it's a little bit bigger than my previous scene, but same kind of thing. This one I actually put in some, what I did with this one is that I put brown right in here. So I used what I used for the sand over here. I did it in one direction, and then I flipped it over and did it in the other direction, and that gave me something to build my trees on. So it's like they're across the water, but on the land, as closer, I guess, than the previous card that I showed you, because that would be more like, okay, now I got to pull it out. Hang on. Okay, no, not that. Yeah, so this you can't actually see the land here. This one here, you can see a little bit of the brown there. So that's another sample of that. And I think you can see just using the Deckled Rectangles is so pretty with this. I feel like it really complements it. And then I wanted to show you one last one here, and that is that you can use the Deckled Rectangles kind of as a frame. So what I did with this one, this is freesia and gray and soft suede. So it's a different kind of look, right? But what I did was that the edge, so I cut out the middle and just use an edge so you kind of get that sort of raised frame look. That's another way to use that. So Let me just pull in some of the samples that I have here from tonight. Give you some general ideas of things that you can, there's so many things. Now I have all these tiny little pieces. Now I get to make all these tiny little cards. Actually, they're regular size cards, but they're just made with like tiny little pieces. Okay, so Sandy's saying, I did it again. Now she needs these. Well, Sandy, if I didn't own them, if I didn't love them so much, I wouldn't be showing them. But man, I love them. I feel like they just really add to anything that's kind of got a little bit of a natural look to it anyway. And I just love this stamp set. I'm sorry it took me so long to find it. They're the note cards. This is a previous one that I did. I added the grass to this. That's also another feature of that. And then the box with the, you'll be seeing more on this, but this is the craft box. So you could put together a bunch of cards and envelopes in that. And I think that would be really pretty. Oh, let me show you this one. I was trying to do kind of a night scene with this one. So I don't know if you can see. I'm unsure what I think of this. And some of my Wink of Stella fell. So I'm not happy with that. But what I tried to do with this, I think you can see a little bit, is that I tried to add just a little bit of, okay, so really what I was going with is I was trying to make it look like a frozen lake. But that wasn't really working because it looks like there's motion to this water. So then I said, all right, well, let me just see if I can make it sparkle a little bit. So I added a little bit of Wink of Stella on that. But the Wink of Stella, it's interesting because the Wink of Stella on the water looks like silver. And the Wink of Stella on the Cat o' Nine Tails here looks gold. Just from stamping on, from putting it into the color that it was on. But this one here, I did the opposite. So the top is the Pacific Point. And then the water here is the balmy blue. So I have to put these all in to make cards out of all of these. But man, they are fun. Oh, and then this is another one. Not yet a card, but going to be. So just another sunset. And it didn't come out quite round. That's an excellent place if there's something not quite right to stick some birds. So I will definitely be making that into something soon. Okay, so let me flip you down, chat. Oh, I didn't want to flip you down because I gotta, there we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so as I mentioned, it is still SaleABration. So for every $50 you spend, you can pick a free SaleABration item. If you spend $100, you get to pick from either 2 level 1 SaleABration items or a level 2 SaleABration item. So there's a lot of good things still available. If you get the stamp set, so the stamp set is, again, oh, I forgot to show you that. Oh, I'll show you in a second. The stamp set is called Oceanfront, and it is on page 88 of the catalog, and it is $22. Can be found there. I didn't show you this, but a really nice compliment. So let me see if I can kind of pull one together and sort of just kind of show you. A really nice compliment to this. So I just did it on on Crumb Cake paper. Is just to add just a little note or happy birthday or thinking of you. So a really nice stamp set for that is my latest go-to stamp set. But it's a go-to for a reason. That's the name of it. Go-to greetings. So they come really fancy looking down to pretty plain and something in between. So you can use them for a lot of different looks. And I find that this very simple look here works really beautiful with this, with some complementary color. Okay, so the go-to greetings is $24. So if you get the go-to greetings and the Oceanfront, you are almost at $50. I was going to say add some green glue in, but don't add that this week. Or maybe some of the sea foam. Susan said she's been eyeing it. You get it. You won't regret it. I've used that one a lot. And I haven't even actually used the fancy writing yet, but the other 2 fonts I've been using quite a bit. So if you are good on greetings and you don't need that, but you need the Oceanfront, you can also get the Deckled Rectangles. And again, they can be found on page 170 of the catalog. These are what they look like here. And they are $30. So that will get you to your $50, and then you get something free for SaleABration. You're welcome. Okay. So that's it for tonight. I just didn't want you to miss out. It seems like such a nice, relaxing beach, lake type, relaxed field, whatever, camping type card. I didn't want you to miss out on getting that. And trust me, when you get it, it's easy to use. You just pull out your stamps and you can make beautiful scenes really, really quickly with that. Okay, so that is it for tonight. Please go back to the demonstrator who brought you here. If it's me, come back to me. If it's somebody else, go back to your demonstrator and she will absolutely take care of you. But make sure you get this order in ASAP because you don't want them to run out of your SaleABration items that you might be eyeing. So be it a hippo, be it a camper, whatever it might be. I'm trying to think if I have one reachable to me right now. Oh, I do. Well, I got a whole box of them. But this is what your SaleABration catalog looks like. So please reach out to your demonstrator. You can find it online as well if you're not sure what's out there. And the only thing that I am aware of at this point that is missing, that has already been sold out, are the note cards and envelopes. So there's still a lot of good things available. Okay, so go back to those people, get those things ordered, reach out to me, let me know if you have any questions. And if you do have this stamp set, please make something with it and post it, add it to this so that people will have new ideas. I didn't even bring in anything that's retired, but there's a lot of retired things that make really pretty accents for this. There's an Adirondack chair that's been around a couple of years ago. That would be gorgeous on this card. There's some fences that would work well with this. There's all sorts of things. So go to your old stash and see what you can find. And I know you're going to find some birds in your old stash. I know you are. Okay, so thanks again for joining me. Again, my name is Betty Sakosha. I am the team leader for Power of Positive Inking. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am in love with the stamp set called Oceanfront. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night, a good week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.